Welcome to the Massage Business Success Podcast. My name is Amy Bradley Radford, and I help solopreneurs just like you learn how to do it all. I teach you how to earn $60,000 a year or more at the table, while also providing you with the continuing education you need to be successful without burning yourself out. I'm a board-certified massage therapist and have been practicing massage therapy for over 30 years, and I'm a nationally approved continuing education provider for over 20 years. I had my monthly business column in Massage Magazine called Advanced Business Strategy for many years, where I was able to share all kinds of tips about how to have a successful business with business owners just like you. I have also developed the Pain Patterns and Solutions modality, where we learn how to apply non-inflammatory therapeutic massage techniques to create real pain relief that lasts. Now, if you're ready to help your clients and make money at the same time, let's dive in. Well, hi there, friends. Welcome to my very first Massage Business Success podcast. I can't tell you how excited I am that you're here to join me on this new adventure. And since this is my first podcast, I'm going to cover a variety of questions today about who I am in the massage industry, how I came to be a massage therapist, educator, author, and business coach, and laundry specialist. But before we do, I want to answer the question you probably have in your brain, and that is, why in the world do you want to spend your time listening to me, and how can I impact your life as a massage therapist? So I have three things that I want to talk about. Number one, there are a lot of great hands that have left our industry, especially in the last 4 years. And I have seen this. I've been in this industry for 30 years, and I've never seen so many people leave after COVID. And the people that have stayed are swamping busy. That is what I get on my coaching calls. And so I want to make sure that if you're one of those great hands, that you stay in massage and that you are as successful as you possibly can be. I want people to know that they can do it. I just have seen too many people leave, and I think it's just because they need someone like me, like a business coach, to say ABC 1, 2, 3, and this is how you actually are successful. So the second reason that I think I'm worth your time is that I want to make a bigger impact and help massage therapists understand your value. I have seen so many massage therapists quit because they just don't know how to keep moving forward. And I believe that getting this podcast out there to massage therapists just like you can help accomplish that and truly make a difference. And number three, I am a problem solver. It's my absolute most favoritist thing to do ever, and I didn't realize that was who I was until a couple of years back. But everything I do, everything I teach, every class I come up with, whether it's pain management or business or ethics, it all solves a problem, not just for you, but for your clients as well. So I think the bottom line for me is I like the real answers. I don't want to hear the textbook stuff. I want the stuff that works. And I think that's what you want as well. So I have been coaching massage therapists and other service industries for a while, and because of that experience, I believe I have a firm grasp on what solopreneur massage therapists struggle with, and also how to help overcome those struggles and become successful at the massage table and with your money. As we get started today, I want you to know that I have asked my really good friend and colleague, Paige Roberry, to come and join in our conversation today. Paige and I, our paths crossed in one of my PPS Bodywork live classes. And while we're friends, I think we offer more to each other and the massage industry together. And so, Paige, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yes, thank you for having me, Amy. I am a licensed massage therapist, but I actually never wanted to be a massage therapist. It was just something I felt like I needed to do. I knew it would be a stepping stone to something else. I didn't know what at the time, so I trusted my intuition, and I ended up at the College of Massage Therapy in Blackfoot, Idaho, where I graduated 7 years ago. So I ran my own business while working full-time in corporate America, and I specialized in pain management. As a massage therapist, you need to receive massages often, as we all know, and after a while, I could no longer handle receiving deep tissue massages. And I knew there had to be another way to heal the body other than causing inflammation. And I kid you not, within a month, I had a flyer in my mailbox advertising a training for PPS.
A little flyer that I sent.
A little flyer that Amy sent, and that was like the definition of a manifesting one right there. I signed up immediately, and obviously I took the course, but our paths crossed a couple other times. But I magically ended up on your table, Amy, which I later learned was very hard to do.
Yes, it is very hard to get on my table.
I told a friend of mine, and he's like, "How'd you do that?" I'm like, "I'm special." So I ended up on your table, and you worked on me for 2 or 3 months, and you healed my body in so many ways. I'd been in physical therapy for a long time, and you did more good for me in those 2 to 3 months than my physical therapist did in, honestly, probably a year.
Thank you.
And that's where my love of PPS came from. I knew it's something I wanted to offer to my clients. And of course, that's where my love of Amy really, really stemmed from. But fast forward a few years, massages led me into energy work, which honestly has probably been the biggest game changer for me. I've done some speaking engagements. It's led into manifestation. I geek out over manifestation. I love it. But massage opened up a whole world that I never knew existed. I have a background in marketing. I've always been in corporate America, so I have a nice balance of applying intuition to business. But honestly, what really lights me up these days is helping people understand that their passion is their purpose, and then helping them through that journey, right? It's how do you make your dreams a reality? That's what I love, and I have a pretty good track record on. But also...
And that's why Paige is in my life.
Yes,
and that's why we have a podcast now.
That's why we have a podcast now?
Because we manifested it. Okay.
We manifested this. I've been telling Amy for so long that she needs a podcast. If any of you have ever met Amy, you will understand exactly what I mean. She's just this wealth of knowledge, and her passion is never ending, and I love it. So I'm so excited that we are here, and let's dive in.
Thank you for all that, Paige. I'm just so excited you're here with me today. And you'll get her enthusiasm more as we go throughout this podcast today and in the upcoming podcasts. Paige, I think, and we're just going to circle back around to owning a business and solopreneurship and being successful. And I actually think that we as brand new massage therapists or people jumping into this industry, we make owning a business thing a lot more difficult than it needs to be. And the reason for that is you're not properly trained on what it actually takes to run a business on your own. Yeah, we learn accounting and 2-year business, plan and how to make all that. And here's your marketing. And then what's an LLC versus a C Corp. I mean, we learn all of those nuts and bolts ABC principles, but that information does not give you the real tools of how to create the success that you're looking for. An example of this, and this is something I talk to my clients about all the time, is you maybe need 100 clients. That's it. I'm going to tone it down to maybe 60 or 70, because if those clients are repeat clients, that's all you need to make your business run. And one of the things that new business owners, or sometimes 2 or 3 year old business owners, talk to me about is it just feels so overwhelming to get all of these clients. And when you can actually dial it down to a number and you think about that, that's actually not so big. It's not climbing this huge mountain. It's taking 100 steps on that mountain.
Yeah, I agree 100%. When I talk to new grads, they are overwhelmed at the thought of running their own business because they feel like it will take so many clients. And what I don't think they realize is you only need a few repeat clients out of the gate.
Oh yeah, just a few.
Just a few. And then that's how I built my business, though. It was just on referrals. I think the big piece here, though, is what you mentioned about setting goals. You really need something to motivate you to work towards. I set a goal at the beginning of my career with how many clients I wanted to see a week. And from there, I was consistently booked out for weeks and weeks throughout my entire tenure.
Yeah, it's the unknown number throws people into a loop. It just spins them out of control. But seriously, there are ways to make this work, and just something as simple as putting a number on how many clients you need to begin with and achieving that's huge. That's absolutely huge. Another example of this is there are basically 3 things you need to be successful as a solopreneur massage therapist. And I'm not talking the accounting and the business and the expenses training. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the system that really ramps up your business and keeps it running for you. And those 3 things are referrals, repeat clients, and revenue. The 3 R's. And honestly, once you can get referrals coming through your door and you offer a great service, you get a repeat client, those repeat clients send in more referrals, and it just snowballs into this machine that gets your schedule rolling that creates the revenue that you're looking for.
Yeah, agreed. And I know there is more to this that we need to talk about.
Yes, I know. I want to coach. I want to coach. But you've got to figure out who I am. I know. I'm backing up.
So for now, let's start from the beginning, Amy.
Yes, ma'am.
So why did you become a massage therapist?
I took the traditional route. I graduated high school. I went to college. I was going to get a business degree, because I felt like that's what I needed to do. I loved business. Business was my passion. So then I'm going to go to school to get a business degree. And within a couple of semesters, I realized I was not a traditional student. My brain does not fit inside that box. And I knew I needed to do something different. But I'm going to back up just a few more steps from that, because I was actually a business owner in the 4th grade. I mean, seriously, I sold suckers and made like $300 a month on quarters. And I would come home at night and I would make suckers, and my mom would be like, you have homework to do. And I'm like, no, I've got to make suckers for my customers. But that's just who I've always been. I graduated out of suckers and went into cleaning houses for people. And I had like 10 clients I was 12 years old. And I ran my business. And, to kind of tie that into why I started a business, my father was an entrepreneur for 40 years. And he ran his own business. And just the conversation at my dinner table was probably a lot different than the conversation at most people's dinner table. I learned about business from a very young age. I learned about what it took to run a business. I learned a lot of things just as I grew up. And so it was just part of who I am. So when I went to college with this background of information, the two didn't jive. And so I actually left college and started to think about what I wanted to do. And the most natural thing in the world for me is to actually touch people. I have been a touchy-feely person my whole life. And so I decided to go into massage therapy. And I went to the Utah College of Massage Therapy in Salt Lake City, Utah in 1993.
All right, so first of all, very impressed about the selling suckers.
I know.
But what made you choose massage? I mean, it's clear you love to touch people, right? Like the touchy-feely, I get that. But you say you love business, and there's so many things you could have gone into for business.
There is.
What made you actually choose to make massage your career?
You want the real story?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, for me, the belief in massage started when I was about 6 years old. And, I don't know how I tied these 2 pieces together other than I followed my passion, which was massage, and then it created the business for me. But as a little girl, I got in a skiing accident. I was showing off in front of my dad. Hey, Dad, watch this. And I was skiing down the hill and I wrecked. And it was a glorious yard sale. Everything went flying. And I tumbled. But in that, my ski on my left foot twisted around 2.5 times and got stuck in my ponytail of all places. And I had a fracture go up through my leg in a spiral. And I was in a cast for, 6 weeks or whatever that everybody is. But when the cast came off, my foot was kind of turned backwards. And my family wasn't like going to physical therapy or doing those sorts of things. So my mom was just like, hey, Amy, your foot's crooked. You need to work on bringing it forward. So it took me about a year to get my leg to kind of twist around forward. But it kind of twisted my whole body to do that. And then when I was about 8 years old, I noticed, I was aware of when I would go run and play with like my siblings or my friends outside, within a very short period of time, I would get this horrible headache, absolutely horrible headache. And it happened so many times that I just stopped running and I stopped playing and I started to get kind of overweight, and which I think added to some of the problems. And I would just have these headaches all the time, and they were like migraines. And I remember one time I was crying and I was in a dark room, and my mom had given me that nasty chewable orange aspirin, which many of you probably have never experienced because you're not as old as I am. And
You're really aging yourself.
I just did age myself. For those of you who feel for me, you do know. But my grandmother was watching us. My mom had some appointments, and she came in to my bedroom, and she worked on my feet for an hour. And what I have to tell you is my grandma was learning to do reflexology. My grandma was a cool hippie grandma before it was cool to be a hippie grandma. She was gluten-free long before everybody else became gluten-free, but reflexology really interested her. Natural healing really interested her. And so she came in and she says, Amy, just let me see if this will help. And she worked on my feet for 2 hours, and I didn't have another headache again for a really long time. And that made such an impression upon me as an 8-year-old child that I just remember this belief, this core belief that just kind of was infused into me, that was hands heal and massage helps. And so from that moment on, whenever I had a chance, every stray animal came up to me that we ever found, because I don't know, I just had that energy about me, but I always touched them. And if somebody was hurting, I was always touching them, and I was always rubbing people's shoulders. And it's just something that came very natural to me. So when I didn't know what I wanted to do anymore in college, I decided to pursue massage because it was something that I believed in.
All right, let's talk PPS.
Let's talk PPS.
Pain patterns and solutions.
Yep, pain patterns and solutions.
How did this come about? Because for those of you listening who don't know, or that maybe didn't catch it in the intro, it is a whole pain management modality, and that is quite the feat to just create a modality.
Just pull one right out of my cap.
So tell me, how did that come about?
About 3 months after I graduated from massage school, I got in a car accident. And it wasn't that impressive of a car accident if you were to see it from the outside. But from the inside, it did a lot of damage to my body in multiple places at the same time. I was going about 45 miles an hour, and I hit this car that was trying to cross an intersection. And because I saw this car coming, I put my feet on the brake and the clutch. So I literally hit his car with my feet going 45 miles an hour. And because of that, I ripped out most of the backside of my right hip and dislocated my hip in that car accident. The minute I sheared off the front of his car, I hit a fire hydrant. And it didn't spurt water. I was really upset. But I hit this fire hydrant, and people who saw the accident said my car went clear up, almost vertical in the air, and came back down. And I don't remember any of this, really. But I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, so I hit the car, and then I hit the steering wheel with my chest and got ejected into my sunroof. And so the totality, the total damage to Amy's body was I broke a tooth in part of my jaw. I broke 3 vertebrae in my neck. Just the spinous processes. I had a massive concussion to the top of my head. I broke my sternum, and I had 6 ribs come off my sternum in the front of my body. And I walked away from that accident. I got up and walked out. Yeah, and I denied an ambulance ride because I was young, and I was kind of raised by a farmer, and you just get up and walk it off, man, except I couldn't walk the next day. And my parents took me in to be evaluated, and I ended up in physical therapy for almost 2 years, trying to get my pelvis to stabilize and my ribs to stay in and find some sort of normalcy again. And what happened through all of this time, because I had to step away from massage for about 6 months, and then I came back, I started trading with other therapists. Physical therapy just was actually a little gruesome to my body. And I was trying to find relief because I was always in pain. I was 20 years old and I was always in pain. And I realized that when people rubbed certain areas of my body, I felt better, like my legs. And when they worked on my back where the pain was, I did not feel better, and I started into that migraine again. And you know what came to my mind through all of this was, well, I'll be darned. I remember when my grandma rubbed my feet and it helped my head. So if my back hurts, it's got to be from somewhere else. And so that started me on this journey of how do I find out how to help myself? And I literally started mapping it out on images. Just started saying, this is Amy's massage that works for her. And then I would turn around and I would start applying it to my clients. And I was allowed to rent space out of that same physical therapy office that I was in for 2 years to do massage. And that was probably the best experience for me developing pain patterns and solutions, because I would get all of the leftovers from physical therapy, the ones they couldn't help, the ones that ran out of insurance, the one where they were functionally better but they were still in pain. Those are the people that got on my table. I got to see 10 bulging disc patients, and I got to see 15 whiplashes, and I got to see 4 frozen shoulders, and I just had this amazing opportunity to take a similar issue from person to person and apply, and I just started mapping things out. And over the course of about 20 to 25 years, I developed the pain patterns and solutions, which really boils down to, if you hurt here and work directly to this area doesn't work, what do you do? And here's your solution. So that's where we got pain patterns and solutions. So it was a very selfish endeavor, really, to help myself.
I didn't realize it had taken that long.
Yeah.
I've actually been genuinely curious, and I was going to ask you, and you took the words right out of my mouth, but that is quite the time.
That's a long time to track pain.
Yeah.
It is a long time. You know, when people take my classes and they're like, wow, this is really kind of cool stuff, you know, and I'm like, well, that cool stuff took 18 years to figure out. But I was diligent, and I took the time, and I like real answers, Paige. It's got to really work, or we move on to something else.
And then let's transition a little bit. So yes, you created PPS, but I know you dove in to teaching business to massage therapists. How did that also come about?
You know, it actually started out by me teaching expectations to massage therapists. And one of the hard parts about PPS is you're going to work on someone's foot to help their head, just like my grandma did. And people come into you and they're like, but my head hurts. I want you to rub my head. And you're rubbing someone's foot. And when I was teaching massage therapists the concepts behind PPS, I had to bring in the concept of, you have to meet your client's expectation or they don't come back. That's a business concept. Yes, it's an expectation and customer service thing, but it's a business concept. If you want your clients to walk back through your door, then they have to have liked what you did. Something you did met their expectations. So I started teaching expectation classes, and from there, it turned into all of these business classes, because once you start diving into what gets people to come back through the door, then that starts into customer service. And where does that fit into massage therapy? It's not just about flow and touch and Swedish massage. There's a whole nother business concept to that.
So then how did that lead into business coaching? Okay,
so that just was out of the blue, Paige. It was completely out of the blue. I never saw myself as a business coach. But what happened is I was teaching a PPS live class, and these were 16-hour weekend workshops, and they were intensive. They were called intensives. You would walk away with your brain going, oh my gosh, I can't hold all of this stuff in here. And so it was just a long weekend, but
I'll second that. I was there. It was a long weekend.
It's a lot of information.
Great weekend, but it was a long weekend.
It's a lot of information. But you know, I want to get you, you're going to get your value and your money's worth when you go to those classes. But I was teaching an intermediate 2 class, and I think we were on the first day, and I had stayed there for lunch in the conference room that we were in, and somebody was there with me, and they'd been to several of my other classes, so I had kind of a relationship with them. And they were like, hey, Amy, I have a business question for you. And I'm like, okay, shoot away. And we started talking about it, and I answered their question, and they're like, well, then I have another question. And they asked me this question, and I, took them on this little path and gave them some suggestions about how to implement some business into their, business practices into their current business to help them be more successful. And about that time, other people from the workshop were starting to come in, and they were sitting down and they were listening. And then another person asked me a question. And then another person asked me a question. And then another person asked me a question. And before I knew it, our lunch hour was over, and we were 45 minutes into when we were supposed to start up with PPS bodywork again. And so I told everybody, okay, let's pause. Let's put a pause. You're all here to learn PPS. We need to set this business stuff aside. And there was this collective, aww. And I just kind of said, you guys want to keep talking about this? And it was yes. No one has talked to us about how to really run a business and how to be successful. And they were so thirsty for this information that it dawned on me that you know what? There's a lot of people that go to continuing education to get a new technique because they're trying to get their business to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So I told everybody, I said, you know what? You're here for the PPS class, but I will stay after class for an hour or so, and I will go ahead and answer your questions. And every single person in that class stayed. Someone ordered pizza, and we were there for like 2.5 hours discussing business. And then afterwards, after that weekend was over, because obviously anytime I got a break during PPS, people were asking me business questions. I just wrote my email and information up on the board, and several of the people in that class reached out to me for individualized help with their business. And that's how I got into business coaching. And I love it.
And you are good at it.
Well, thank you.
Amy has also helped me a little bit as well, and she always knows what to say as well. And on top of her knowledge, anyways, she's fabulous. I can sing your praises like that as well. So I think that what you talked about that day after class, I think that if that was implemented into the business portion of school, or honestly even better, like a 6-month follow-up after graduating, there would be many more massage therapists that found success at the table. I remember my business class, it felt daunting, and it wasn't even taught by a massage therapist. Like, she didn't know what it's like. Now, don't get me wrong, she was an incredibly smart woman, and I actually adore her, but it's different when it's coming from someone that is in the industry and knows what actually happens and what to expect. So I think if that could somehow be implemented in the school system, it would be an incredible change for massage therapists.
It would be a game changer.
Yeah.
It would be a game changer.
Yeah,
and I think the reason for that page is, it's one thing to sell a t-shirt to somebody. It's one thing to sell, a physical product that you can see, touch, and all that kind of stuff. It's another thing to sell a feeling.
Ooh, it's true.
How someone feels. Can you take what someone feels, interpret it inside your mind, understand their expectations, and relay it back to them in a form of touch that's not verbal?
Yeah.
And then they walk away with a feeling that is supposed to have value that's non-tangible. That's different. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to business in massage therapy. You're selling a feeling, and can the person feel it? And how do you create that?
Yeah, I love it. So where are you now in your business?
Well, I tell people I get bored really easily. I think it's the ADHD brain I have. And for those of you that know me, your head's shaking. Yes,
Yeah,
you know. But the reality of it is I really enjoy diversity. I like dabbling in a lot of different things, and it keeps my attention and it keeps me moving forward. But it keeps my passion for what I do just rolling. I love to help people in business. I love to help people in pain. I love to see other massage therapists become successful. I love to see the light bulb moments that go on in people's head when they learn a new technique or they succeeded in their goals. And so I think I have shifted into this person. Like, I call myself a problem solver, but I truly am a coach because I want to guide people on this journey that they're in and see them create this success for themselves. So I do a lot of different things to support that, like a podcast with a question, but I also write in a blog, and I put out classes and webinars, and whatever I do, I'm just trying to help people find a way to be successful for themselves. So, and another thing that I have been, because I like that diversity, and I want to be able to get the attention of more therapists and help them. Some of the other things that I've been doing is I've developed a coaching group for PPS bodywork, and I've developed a coaching group for massage therapists looking for business, because it's a more affordable, more applicable way. And there's something about a collective consciousness, these people coming together, everybody having a common goal. I have seen so much happen for people when you're in a group setting that it's actually really powerful. So I have brought that into play. I have taken all of my PPS and business classes, and I've put them online. And I know what you're thinking as a massage therapist. No, I want a live class, and I want to do this. I'm here to tell you right now, one of the things that I struggled with as an instructor was not that a live class is bad. I still love teaching live classes, and we all want to feel what it is we're learning. But when you come to a PPS intensive, and it can be this way in a lot of different classes, you don't remember more than maybe a quarter of what you learned that weekend. You don't. And I had people ask me for years, don't you have videos? Don't you have recordings of all of this? And so you know what, people? That's exactly what I did. I went and recorded it all. And I have people, when they come to my live classes, then they can get online and they can go back and pick through the recordings and listen to things over and over again, because it takes time to internalize any advanced concept. So I spend a lot of time documenting and putting that information out there so that it's easier for people to find and listen to again and repeat, so that they can really get the concepts down, whether it's business, ethics, PPS, pain management, any of it.
Yeah, I want to second that actually. So clearly I've been in her live classes, and I've also done her classes online, and the online version, it's really sweet. And if you need a quick reference and how it's all laid out, and yes, live classes are special because it's live and there's something to it, but truly the online is, I don't want to say it's better, but it's better.
I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah. I'm thinking that's a compliment. I just know that the repetition is what really makes a difference for people. It really is. And I like to do things in little chunks. Like when I teach videos for, sometimes for business concepts or even, anatomical or hands-on stuff, I like just little chunks. Like, let's just get these down and we go with that. And, this last year I have spent producing something I call Launch Your Massage Business. And I'm not going to dive into Launch today, but I took the referrals, repeat clientele, and revenue concepts and turned it into a 10-hour class so that people can just launch their businesses.
So, Amy, where are you going now? We've established you get bored easily.
I do get bored.
Where are you going now?
My brain went in like 9 different directions when you asked me that question, because I'm like, ooh, we could do this, we could do this. Honestly, that kind of circles us right back around to the beginning. I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference in people's lives. And having been in this coaching thing for a while and working with people, working one-on-one, I have a couple of different coaching groups that I'm running right now. And it's one of my funnest things in the world. Again, I get to problem solve on like speed, kind of. But it is. I get all these problems thrown at me, and it's so much fun. But what's amazing is that the people in that group, a lot of times they have similar problems. So someone will bring a question and answers so many people's questions. And I have a PPS bodywork group that we get to talk about different types of pain patterns and the solutions that go with them and how complex or simple they can be. And then I have a business coaching group where we get to really refine and talk about how to take your business to the next level, because I think sometimes that traction is hard to find, and sometimes you just lose motivation. Sometimes you're burned out, and sometimes you just need to know that you're not the only one that's in that place, and there's other people just like you, and you can pull yourself out of that rut and start moving forward again.
Yeah, something I want to chime in there is, first and foremost, a business coach is always a good idea. I think you're at a certain point in life or in your career where you can really appreciate that. But Amy, what I wanted to share actually the other day, I had asked you, how much do you charge for your coaching groups? And when you told me, I was shocked. I, as a business coach and how I've provided you some guidance in the past, I was like, Amy, you have to raise your rates. I was like, you have to raise it. That's insane. And her response back to me was, no, because I know what massage therapists make and I know what they need. It just goes to show how good of a person you are and that you really do care.
I really do care. I really do want to make a difference. I do. I think in the beginning of my career, or maybe even somewhere in the middle, it was all about how much money I could make, or can I make money at this, or I need to make money. I mean, I've been in the same place as most people. And at this point in my life, I still need to make money like everybody else, but I have a heck of a lot more fun watching people be successful. It just lights me up. I love it. And that manifestation that we talked about, Paige, when you are truly following your purpose, everything just falls into line.
That flow doesn't get better than that flow.
It doesn't get better. No better than that.
Amy, this has been a ball. It is always a blast when we get together. I always love our time together.
Always a blast.
Anyways, thank you for having me, and I'll chat with you next time.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. Thank you for coming, and thank you everyone for listening, and we hope to see you at our next podcast. Thank you for listening. For more information about classes, products, or coaching, go to amybradleyradford.com. And if you've liked what you've heard, please subscribe and leave us a review.